Many have argued that President Donald J. Trump's removal from the White House will bring an end to a push for wokeness. President Joe Biden, they argue, is a moderate, and without the left's favourite right-wing target, wokeness will fade away into obscurity, into the background, and back to the fringes of American politics. I'm not convinced at all, folks. Even Labour Party politicians here in the United Kingdom, champions of woke politics and their causes, are branding him as their woke guy. Yesterday, Axios admitted that Biden's economic policy team signalled that it will be the first administration ever to construct economic policy around issues like race, gender, equality and climate change, rather than around traditional indicators like GDP or deficit ratios, meaning that economic policy will be directed at Americans based on their immutable characteristics, based on things out of their control. Any president and administration serious about unifying the country would focus on the whole nation. They'd aim their policies at those who need targeted help and support. If that takes in more of those in minority communities who they argue are disproportionately harmed by economic fallout, then they'll get the support that they need. But this is wacky, this is insanity, this is pandering to wokery and whackery over common sense. This is the sort of common sense that would say that boosting GDP and growing an economy is how you actually put more money in people's pockets, people of all colours, sexes and political creeds, and it would create more jobs that are needed, not just in the United States of America, but in the United Kingdom and elsewhere too. Spending money you don't have and focusing it on everyone but, it would seem, white men isn't the way you go about helping everyday Americans. Ignoring math and reality is never a sensible idea. And yesterday it was also reported that one of Biden's first acts as president will be to extend trans students access to single-sex spaces. A post on Biden's website states, on his first day in office, Biden will reinstate the Obama-Biden guidance revoked by the Trump-Pence administration, which will restore transgender students access to sports, bathrooms and locker rooms in accordance with their gender identity. It's all about your identity with these people. As I posted on Twitter, he stated in 2019 at an LGBT forum with the Legacy Gay Press that
in prison, the determination should be that your sexual identity is defined by what you say it is, not what, in fact, the prison says it is. And in that case, you should be entitled.
This is the ultimate pandering to woke politics. This is rendering the term woman completely meaningless, rendering sex meaningless. When sex ceases to exist and people can just identify how they feel, then same-sex attraction doesn't exist. Being gay doesn't exist. Being a woman doesn't exist. Access to single-sex spaces don't exist. When we can identify how we feel as opposed to how we actually fundamentally are, what we were born as, what our birth certificates say, then we fundamentally alter society. Even census forms, data collected by central government to make policy, that becomes skewed. It fundamentally alters what we sort of focus our healthcare attention on, for example. If we don't know how many men and women biologically are in the country, it fundamentally alters the English language as well, which sort of proponents of wokeness back in the days of, going so far back as critical race theory and changing language, Marxist cultural revolutionaries like Foucault, for example. This is a sign to me that they are really going to worship at the altar of the woke and actually put women at risk. And then in his environmental agenda, two aides named by Joe Biden to handle environmental issues claimed that systemic racism is partially to blame for climate change. Washington Free Beacon reported that Maggie Thomas has been tapped for the Office of Domestic Climate Change Policy Chief of Staff, and Cecilia Martinez will serve as Senior Director of Environmental Justice. Both of them have said that racism is what drives climate change, while insisting that Biden's environmental reform should be based on racial and economic justice. I struggle to see personally how the world ended tomorrow in a ball of flames if we were to believe Greta and David Attenborough and all of their proponents. We all drown to death, or we all burn to death because the earth gets too hot, or sea levels rise at a rate in which we can't control. Why on earth would that discriminate on grounds of the colour of your skin? This is just decisive nonsense. It's critical race theory style madness. It's cartoon. The administration, I think, it's quite clear already day one, that they'll worship at the altar of the woke, with Kamala Harris proudly displaying her pronouns in her Twitter biography to show just how virtuous she is, as if we'd ever assume she's anything other than a biological woman. This is a Twitter administration. This is an administration that will pander to the views and opinions that populate the anti-conservative social media giant. This is not an administration that will banish woke politics. This is an administration obsessed with identitarian politics. It puts identity first. It puts your immutable characteristics first. It gets rid of that old adage of the content of your character being more important than your immutable characteristics, like skin color, like sex, like sexuality. It puts the kind of divisiveness that we've seen over recent months at the very heart of government. So far from Trump leaving the White House being a sort of unifying force, I think ultimately, folks, we're just going to see more and more pandering to those who do not wish the United States of America well, those who do not wish the United Kingdom well, those who do not wish the West well, those who have given succor and support to every left-leaning organisation that wants to destroy our values and our way of life. I do not think America will be healed by Joe Biden. Reasoned relies upon grassroots donations from people like yourself that want us to continue producing our high quality, free thinking content. So please do consider clicking the link and donating, no matter how big, no matter how small, because it really does ensure that we can keep on keeping on.